This is the 2023 Toyota Supra, and yes, I have tested this car before, but not with a 6-speed manual transmission, something that we've been waiting for quite a long time. You see, many people flooded Toyota's PR desk and complained about this enough for Toyota to introduce one, and for that we are very grateful. So today I'm going to test it and we'll see how well it performs. I've always thought that the Supra looks way better than its BMW Z4 twin, and as an added bonus, the Z4 does not get a 6-speed stick. So a couple of things make this car really stand out. This double bubble roof, which must cost a lot more than a normal roof to manufacture, but Toyota went with it anyway. I think it's great. It's also got this cool looking ducktail spoiler. I think it looks epic from the back with the Supra lettering right there and these huge exhausts sticking out the back. The only negative that I can see are these very fake air vents right here. They could have used those to maybe cool the brakes a bit. I've heard that some people have had some issues on a track with these cars where the brakes are overheating. We're not going on a track today, so when we drive it later on, we shouldn't encounter much of a problem. Toyota sourced an existing ZF 6-speed manual transmission, removed some sound deadening materials, and added in a beefier reinforced clutch. So this car now weighs 40 pounds lighter than its automatic sibling. So you can only get a 3-litre in a manual. It's a shame you can't get the 2-litre, which is also a great car. Now they've shortened the final drive ratio on the manual equipped cars, but the overall gear ratios are actually a little bit taller. Toyota's adjusted the traction control system and retuned the stability control in order to make this car less likely to rotate when you mash the gas pedal in the bends. But having said that, it does have a new hairpin system, so when you're in a really tight bend, the system loosens off the traction control and allows one of the wheels to spin a little so you can have a little fun. So no change for the brakes. There's still 13.7 inches vented discs at the front, 13.6 inch vented disc at the rear. It's now wearing these new 19-inch alloy wheels, which I think look really good, new for 2023, and also Michelin Pilot Super Sports 255/35s at the front, 275/35s at the rear. So Toyota says that if they had to develop a straight 6 engine for this car, it would be priced around $100,000 because of those additional costs. Instead, they took this BMW engine. It's got 382 horsepower, 368 foot-pounds of torque, kicks in around 1750 RPM, and it'll get from 0 to 60 a tad slower than the automatic, around 4.2 seconds, depending on how good you are with a manual transmission. You do take a hit on fuel economy, gets around 4 to 5 miles to the gallon less on the highway. More good news, the stick shift is available as a no-cost option. It's a no-brainer. This one starts around $55,560. It does have a couple of packages. The paint is $425, and then there's a driver assistance package, which is around $1,200. That takes the out-the-door price, including destination, to $58,300 and some change. So far, not a lot wrong with this car. In fact, I love it. Fake vents aside, the only other irritating thing is you can't open the trunk from the back unless you use the key. Well, the key's in the car, so I got to go over here and push this button right here. And open the trunk. All right, don't get too excited because it's A, a very narrow opening, B, it only has about 10 cubic feet of space. The good news is if you did want to go to Home Depot and buy a longer piece of wood, there's a poke through just above where the 2 rear speakers sit, and obviously there are no back seats. Inside, obviously the biggest change is the stick shift. So they had to relocate this in order for it to fit, and so the entertainment controller has moved over here, and then the stick is right here. And of course, unless you have like a small, my little Japanese water bottle there, unless you have a really small one, you are going to hit your elbow on there, and oftentimes you can hit, if you really slam it into third, you might wrap your knuckles against here. Everything else is pure BMW. I'm not going to go into it because we tested this car 3 or 4 times before. I'll add that to the end of the video so you can check out the full review of the inside of the car. All right, let's take it for a drive. I got my seat in a perfect position. The side bolsters here do move in, powered, of course. I've got my seat in the position a little closer than I would be if I were in an automatic car, because I need to change gear. The transmission or the gear shift is somewhat notchy. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I'm getting used to it. 6-speed, obviously, easy to get, and then reverses all the way over here and then back. Probably won't be needing that today, so let's get going. Of course, most important button to press is the sport button, so we get the exhaust, we get the whole experience. And then I like the fact that the electronic parking brake comes off as soon as you head off. So we'll head out to some straighter bits of road, and then we'll get into some twisties. First to second change is not the best. It's always the hardest one. But once you are up to speed, it's a little warm out there today. One thing I have noticed on my way to the video spot is there's a more vibration through the seat just from the engine. Now this is a pretty crappy road, so obviously I'm getting a lot of vibration from the road, but there's a lot of vibration when the road is smooth as well. Good thing about this car is tons of torque from this straight six. So you don't always need to be changing gear, you don't need to max out the revs. It's got a good sweet spot, 4,000 to 5,000 RPM, and it just goes. Even in sixth, you could pick up from like 30 miles an hour and still have decent acceleration. Steering is very good. Okay, fourth to fifth. No need to rev its balls off. Short shifting this thing, it's just as quick. It's really composed. Now, I can't tell, I can't feel the difference with the suspension mods. Probably have to drive a car back to back to figure out if that was even going to be noticeable. Okay, drop down to fourth. This thing is great, and you can feel the road, you can feel everything the car's doing. Up this hill into sixth. Yeah, this thing has got so much power for a little car. So if you just put it in fourth gear, drop it down to 40 miles an hour, doesn't pick up, and then it goes. Very tractable engine. I mean, BMW does make one of the best straight six engines ever made, so it was a logical decision for Toyota to go with this engine. Even if everybody cried about it, this is still great. Very sharp steering too. I mean, little movements and the steering just goes in the direction you're looking for. There's no play in the steering. So the first to second change does take a little bit of finessing. Probably one of the best stick shifts that I've ever driven is in the Honda Civic. Such a great transmission there. But as long as you're not driving around town, you shouldn't really need first gear that often. And once this thing gets going, absolute hoot to drive. Now I've left the rev match on, seeing as I've only had it one day. I kind of like the rev match. It's the lazy way to do it, but whatever. I'm good with it for now. Changed direction really well. The steering is really, really good in this car. But having a manual transmission is so much more engaging. Oh, you have total control. Oh yeah. Thank you, Toyota, for bringing this to us finally. It was definitely worth the wait. So getting the hang of this, how the stick shift feels, the change. You know, I always think that a good test of a manual transmission is how much you want to change, even for no reason. And this car slowly seems to be that I really don't have a problem changing gear. These bends are a little twistier, but you know, you can just dab of brakes, change down to third, look for the apex power out. Oh, this has literally doubled the fun of the Supra. The Supra before was great with an automatic transmission, but you know, it's kind of bleh. It really, really needed this stick shift. Car sounds good too. Pop, pop, pop on the overrun. Yeah, the throws are pretty short. They could finesse it and make it a little bit less notchy, but overall, pretty solid manual transmission. Little hop, hop, hop there from the back axle. If you put the power down, feel the traction control kicking in. Fighting with the power. So these Michelin Pilot Super Sports though are grippy as hell. And it's warm today, and so the tires are nice and warm, nice and sticky. If only the road was a little smoother. So this has got it going uphill, third gear. You can feel the back end just a little bit, but it's keeping it all under control. I'm wondering if I can find some really tight bends to see what this hairpin system is. Doesn't seem to be too affected by mid-corner bumps too much. It's a little hop, hop, hop at the back, but they sorted, the chassis was a little hoppity. The rear suspension was a bit hoppity in the first iteration, when it first came out. And they've controlled that well. It's a little squirrely under braking at speed, but nothing you can't control. God, it sounds good. This is a third gear turn here. Perfect car. Small, light, nimble. These are the perfect roads for this Supra manual. Car transfers its weight really well. Absolutely no understeer. Keeping it in the higher rev range here, about 5,000 RPM. But it's got so much torque, it's fine in fourth at these speeds. good. I'll give it a solid good, 7 out of 10, I think. Once again, Toyota has done a magnificent job. I mean, just bringing this car back was epic. Despite the complaints about it being mostly BMW, now they've injected a little bit more Toyota into it. It's definitely got the soul that it was missing. And what a transformation. Just so good in every way. Yeah, sure, there's other cars you could get for similar price. You could get a Mustang that's got more power. There's something about this car because it's small and nimble that I really like. So what do we think? Well, Toyota were very slow in getting us this car. It came out in 2020, it's now 2023. And was it because of all the complaints at the PR desk, or was it because the Nissan 400Z came along? We'll probably never know. All I know is, yes, this is a little bit slower. Yes, it's a little less economical, but it is a ton more fun when you row your own. And now, in this iteration, it is better than the Nissan 400Z. Once again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe. We'll catch you next time with another video. Out.